what do you think about people outside of the Black community using the N-word, specifically towards you?
You know, that's crazy. I was literally just thinking about this 3 minutes ago, and I was like, nah, because that's going to turn into something different. That's crazy. I have a different view on a lot of different things than the majority. I personally, I think I was talking to my mother about this. This might have been years ago, and she was just like, if we, I don't know, she said something. Like you said something about the whatever that flag is that stands for whatever that.
Oh, you mean the Confederate flag?
Right. She was talking about the Confederate flag, and she was like, if we all did it, it would take the meaning away from it. And I think that's how I feel about the N-word. I was like, the N-word in itself, and us just wanting to keep it in the Black community and the color. I think it's kind of stupid. I think it's really stupid. I think it's the dumbest thing. I mean, like, we say it in songs. I heard a City Girl song. She said Nigger. She said the whole thing, just the rhyme. I'm like, if we're saying all of this stuff, and we expect the next person to not say it at all, and we get upset, we make a fool out of ourselves, and I think we're holding on. I think in no way is it good and positive to hold on to negativity. And if there's such a negative thing with the N-word in itself, we shouldn't say it as a whole. Like, we shouldn't even say it. Like, we shouldn't communicate it to each other. But since we do, I don't think that people will call a white dude the N-word. And just as a term, you're a guy, you're this, or a white person that, but don't let them say that to us. And I don't know. I personally believe it is what it is. I don't really care. I don't care too much. I just be like, you know what I'm saying? I heard someone call me the N-word. They were white, but I mean, they said it in a way to get me upset. And I was just like, saying, well.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been called a nigga based on somebody using that word to try to hurt you as a derogatory term?
Yeah. I mean, it was one time, and I was just looking like, I was like, but my thing is, I was looking at them, they was country looking. I said, you probably got a bad life. you look like a sad individual. Like, none of the things that he said affected me in any way, because I knew who I was. I knew that their intent was to get me down, but like, I was having a great day. That's not going to mess up my day. Your little words, I don't know you. I think if I don't know somebody, I can't take things personal, because like, I'm not going to let you mess up my bubble. Like, I'm feeling good today. I've been feeling good all week. You say one thing, it shouldn't be able to mess me up for the day, and I shouldn't have to post it on social media and get an uproar and then be upset about it for a week. I don't know. I think we allow other people to take our what is it?
Glory.
Yeah, we let other people do that.
So let me. Have you ever been called the nigga by somebody in a position of authority that may have had some type of power over you?
No. I mean, no.
Do you think it would affect you different in a situation as such?
That's a good one. I think you still in the back of your head, if they're saying the N-word in that negative way, especially if they're like someone you can't really say too much to, it puts you in a predicament, and it definitely would stir some things up, especially emotionally for me. But yeah, it wouldn't be the same as just a random person saying the N-word.
Wow. So that puts a different spin on it if it was a doctor or a lawyer or a police officer.
No. Okay, so no, if it was them, like, I don't care. Now, if I'm thinking like my boss, like it's my boss, like, I don't know.
But
I can't really.
If you were going in for surgery, and your doctor was standing over you, getting ready to give you the anesthetic to put you to sleep, and said, "Rest well, nigga."
So
I'd be like, help.
You are so extreme.
I had my bag ready.
you try not to count backwards from 99. You be like,
First of all, I'm getting up because we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
That put it.
Hear that? I'm definitely getting up. Yeah, he ain't doing nothing to me.
that's funny.
I don't even feel bad no more. I don't even know what the situation
Cool. I can live with this, right?
Say the lawyer, if you were in court and you were trying to get off some charges, and your lawyer said, "Don't worry, I got you. You my nigga."
Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let me put a different spin on it. If you was dealing with murder charges and you were depending on this person to get you off, and they said, "Don't worry about it, I got you. You my nigga," a white person.
It depends
on how much money.
It depends on how much money you paying them.
Yeah.
That's all. It's only about the money.
Right.
I mean, like if you say it like that, you know what I'm saying? All right. Now, if you say like, you know what I'm saying, don't worry about it, and then say ER, then we got a problem. If you put the ER at the end and don't say it like you cool, like that, we got an issue.
Two different words.
Yeah.
It's two
different words, right? And so, yeah. It's two different words.
The context.
Yeah, if you say ER, it's
only about the context in which it's being said.
Exactly. That's how I feel. Right. Now, if you say it in a way like the ER, we got a little pride. Just a little pride.
Yeah.
For me, I choose to employ like Dave Chappelle does. Everybody's a nigga.
Yeah, that's how I say. Yeah.
No matter. It's only a word. You know what I mean? If we're digging deep into it, we're gonna go back to where it came from. Yeah. You already know what my answer is. It comes from niggas.
Yep.
Just because some backwater.
Exactly, king.
King.
I was like, king.
Right. And just because some backwater hick couldn't say negros and started saying nigras, I'm not gonna let that redefine what the word actually means.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And as we adapted it into our culture, it's definitely a term of endearment. Yeah. You know, so inflection, it all depends on that, who's saying it.
Yeah, in the context.
In the context, like you said, in the context in which it's being used.
Because I've seen things where people have been singing songs that say the word, and they singing the song and then gotta come in and apologize.
Literally, it's the dumbest thing.
You might have to do that. If I'm around, you might have to do that.
You said what?
I said, if I'm around, depending on who's singing the song, they may owe me an apology.
But why? Why if it's in the song?
Because white people don't get that pass with me.
I see. That's where I can't. I don't agree with that, because if they're not directing it to you in a negative way and it's in a song, how can you put terms on it? Who can say what? I mean, who can say something to you is different.
I agree.
Be able to say it to you. I shouldn't call you out of your name. I shouldn't say anything derogatory to you. But to sing a song that's in the song, and I got to bleep what I say, I just think that's crazy.
Well, if we talk about white people and we talking about the history of black and white people here in America, yeah, they gotta apologize to me. They shouldn't be that comfortable around me. I'm sorry.
Even if they're comfortable around you, like if there's somebody close to you.
Hey, I don't got white people that close to me.
I don't know. I can't. For example.
Oh, actually, I do. I got an Italian buddy, and again, when it's him, it comes down to context. You know, but I can say all kind of derogatory terms about Italian people as well. It's our thing. You know what I mean? But it's just basic communication. Yeah. And it's never disrespectful to the next person.
So that's what I'm saying. In a song, it's not being disrespectful to a person. It's a song.
Haven't said that. Yeah. If my guy is standing around me and he's singing a song and a word pop out, he might get popped. I'm just saying. He might get popped.
And another thing, I'm sure it's cool between the two of y'all, but if it was him, you, me, couple, it might be an issue.
He's forcing me to choose a side at that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't care.
So
I see it different because I've been raised around a lot of different people, and I had a white girl who used to do my hair, and I mean literally, she was white, but you wouldn't know she was white, and I don't know if she knew she was white.
What?
When I say this, I mean she was, because your skin. Okay, so let me just say this much, and this is going to go deep. Your skin color cannot dictate your culture. So if I have a baby that I adopted as a newborn coming out the hospital who happens to be a white child, and they were raised in my household around my whole family and all of my culture, you mean to tell me they have to still segregate themselves because of the color of their skin?
It's a black baby with white privileges. That's all. It's just it's a black baby with white privileges. That's basically what it is.
Well, I'm saying baby on the outside, but I'm saying that's who they think they are.
I get what you're saying, Belle.
Culturally. So for me, I'm just like, I don't see, and if they grew, and so if they hear that in their household and they around people and that's how they communicate, that's who they are. That's their culture. Like I don't know. I think a lot of it is about how you're raised versus the color of your skin. I really am not focused on skin color versus, I don't know. I don't see that. I guess because I've been around people, like I said, that Linda used to do my hair, and I tell you, I don't know if Linda knew she was was white. She didn't speak white. She just was never around anybody white. She was white, but she wasn't white. And so when I communicated with her, I felt like I was communicating with somebody black. She communicated with you the same way. So for me, if Linda, who I'm sure she used to hang around with only black people, she might have said the N-word, and it wouldn't be offensive to them because they understood who she was,
right,
and not just her skin color.
Right. Yeah, we're not regulating it to that.
Okay.
I could care less what the color of your skin is, to be honest. Okay. I care about the character that you have.
Gotcha.
Having said that, I'm from South Philadelphia, so there are definitely white boys that grew up in the hood.
Right.
You know, and they can say whatever they want to say out their mouth. Having said that, they still get into a lot of fights. You know what I mean? For using that word.
Ooh, yes.
Until we really understand who they are. You know what I mean?
Yes. So that's all I'm saying.
Being used racially because they were, entrenched in this culture that gives them a somewhat of a pass to be the white black guy.
I knew an Asian guy when I was growing up. They called him Chigga.
Yeah, we had one of them too.
He told him that to his face.
Yeah, we had one of them too.
He was black. And they were like, yeah, Chigga.
Yeah.
That was their word for him. That was their term of endearment to him.
Exactly. And we have an innate capability of doing stuff like that. My grandma called me nigga much as I can remember. I thought that was my name for a second. You know what I mean? But she never meant it in a bad way.
Right.
I just think I agree with you to a certain extent. I think we're a little too sensitive.
Yeah.
To the use of the word. But having said that, it still matters how it's employed.
Oh, absolutely. The context, like I said, you would get a rise out of me if it was said out of context. But some celebrity on YouTube singing a the latest song by some rapper and dancing, I could care less what you say.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna.
I think the conversation Kayla and I were having was about the Confederate flag. Like, people are outraged. I mean, we understand the context of many people riding around with those flags and what those flags mean. But if we all got flags and put them on our cars, they wouldn't raise them flags no more. I mean, it's a flag.
I mean, I just two people. I said if we all collectively came together and did that, not just two people.
Not two people.
Collectively.
It's a flag. It's a flag. It's an inanimate object that holds.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, just go. Let's all just have a campaign to go get Confederate flags. They would not raise a flag because the flag has power over us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me chime in on two things. One, the Confederate flag, right?
Yep.
To me, flags are symbolic to like an identification symbol.
Yep.
Specifically and especially in war times.
Mm-hmm.
In war times, people use flags to say, hey, I'm not a part of this, I'm not on this side, or I'm on this team. And so when I used to live in Atlanta, coming from the North for the most part of my life, when I moved to the South, I saw Confederate flags hung about casually.
Oh, yeah.
On bumper stickers on cars. And that was totally new to me. You know, in Philadelphia, Jersey, New York, you'll never see a Confederate flag, ever.
Absolutely.
I came to the South and it was everywhere.
Right.
I remember I used to go to this center for artists. It was called Wonder Root. And behind Wonder Root, when you had to go to like the side entrance, like almost towards the back to get in the building, and behind there was like a motorcycle club where they hung up a Confederate flag.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that and I walked past it every time I went in the building, to me, it said something to me. It said, go that way, go this way.
Yeah. And
from somebody that operates in a warrior mindset, I appreciate those type of symbols. I feel like it's something
what you're dealing with, right?
Until the war is over. When the war is over, then I'd like to see the flag come down. Mm-hmm. But for as long as the war is in motion and my people are out here dying and being murdered at the hands of racist white people, I can appreciate them hanging a symbol on their front lawn to let me know where their mindset is at. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate when I'm in a certain neighborhood and I look around and I see, okay, Donald Trump. I know I probably need to keep it moving. You know what I mean? I know if I need to use a restroom, I need to keep it moving. Versus having been in situations where I'm driving on the road and I don't really know. I know I'm in a white town, but I don't really know where their minds might be at. And I was in West Virginia driving through, and I stopped to go to the bathroom. And when I walked in the place, a white man was sitting at the table eating and said, "What's a nigger doing in here?" Right? Now, had there have been a Confederate flag in the window, you think I would have stopped in there? Heck no. So from that standpoint, I can appreciate flags like that, not from the standpoint of I'm ignorant to what it represents, but the war times and war symbols come with it. I think it's our duty to recognize that. And like I said, when the war is over, then we can pull the flags down. On the note, go ahead.
I'm sorry, because I'm saying, because we know, like, growing up in like the 80s, parts of New York, and I'm sure Philadelphia the same way, but parts of New York, there were certain parts of New York that were straight up white, and it was going to go down if anybody black was in that part of New York. And that's in New York.
That's what I grew up.
Bed-Stuy or whatever that area is.
I grew up in situations where we was in the wrong playground at the wrong time, and you might have been taking a trip to the hospital at 8, 9 years old.
Right. And they didn't have no flags flying. The flag was not didn't mean anything.
Right.
Flag, you know what I'm saying? You got races everywhere.
So I don't think that the answer is for us to all wear Confederate flags to take the sting out of it. But I do think that we should let them have, to a certain degree, you know what I mean? Not to knock the efforts of people that's tearing down these statues and all of that kind of stuff, because a lot of this stuff needs to go. You know what I mean? But again, when it comes to a flag, something that's symbolic to war times, that identifies the adversary or whoever is dealing with certain mindsets, it serves a purpose for people like me, having grown up in environments where you could make a mistake and stumble across the wrong neighborhood, the wrong corner. Same with gangs. We had gangs, and especially being a child of the 70s. That was a time where you had gangs, and gangs will identify themselves by their jackets that they wore and the patches. But by the 80s and 90s, they took that stuff off, but the culture was still there. So you can walk to the left 2 blocks and be in the whole gang territory and not even know it and get jumped. You know? Right. So I just grew up in a culture where I can appreciate certain gangs and certain rules that come with, you know, war times. On a note of the N-word, my position is a little different. Sometimes I've been in positions where I've been offended by somebody black calling me the N-word. Not so much by people. There are certain black people I hang around. I know they from a certain culture. They talk to everybody like that. So that's neither here nor there. Then I've been in certain positions in professional environments where somebody might draw me up a certain way in their mind, read me a certain way, and think that it's okay to address me that way, which to me shows a lack of respect. Because I don't feel like if I was maybe in a different attire or I gave off a certain vibe that caused you to read me a different way, I don't think you would have addressed me that way. So don't take that liberty. You know what I mean? So I felt offended by it. And it goes back to what Beth says. It's also about context, because that person might have even meant well. But this is what I mean by context. Everybody agreed that the historical origin of the word nigga is from the Gas, negus, words referring to blackness or black king, right? For the most part, you know, unconsciously to some degree maybe, but for the most part, nobody is referring to me as a nigga in the interest of calling me a black god or a black king. So unless I'm talking to somebody that I know acknowledges me as such, like I acknowledge Ramil as such, he acknowledges me as such. So if he was to say my nigga, I don't feel no kind of way because I understand the true context of what we're dealing with, right? And so until white people can recognize me as a black god or a black king, and I don't mean in a way as to say that I'm on some ego trip, like you got to kneel down and kiss my feet. I'm talking about the perception of divinity and godliness and respect, something that I feel like every human being is entitled to. Until white people can address me in that context, nah, I don't want to hear you call me nigga. Regardless of the fact that hip hop is doing it and this, that, and the other. My son, a lot of his friends are white. And I was sitting around his friends, this was years ago. And I was sitting around his friends and they white, Jewish, all this, that, and the other. And they like, my nigga, my nigga, my nigga. And it's always been something that ate at me because I didn't say anything. Because I didn't want to create I didn't want to elevate a situation with my son in front of his friends. It was like one of the first times that he welcomed me in the presence of his friends. So I just kind of fell back and let them do them and made my observations. But it's something that bothered me. Over the years, I always think to myself, man, I should have just said something. You know what I mean? I should have said something. But knowing me, I was more or less like, I didn't want to open up the door and say something and they mess around and give me the wrong response as a man. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna really go in on these young boys because I was a little bothered by the fact that they felt that comfortable in the presence of your father. You feel what I'm saying? Even if that's something y'all say around each other, I felt like they should have pumped the brakes a little bit to a certain degree. I want them to feel comfortable, but it's the respect thing. And like I said, Ramil, you wasn't here to hear it, but one of the things I went back to was context and how we talked about the word nigga referring to black king or black god. And how when usually people use that word, they're not referring to me as a black king or a black god, right? So in most cases, the word is being used, 99% of the cases, the word is being used out of context. So if we talking about context here, I am going to be offended, not so much where I feel like I'm gonna have to slap somebody, but I am going to be offended to a degree where if the word isn't being used in its proper context, then I don't, in most cases, I don't need it to be used referring to me at all.
Right.
Again, unless I'm dealing with somebody like my brother here, where I know, like even with him, I feel comfortable around him enough where I might use the word nigga, or if I'm referring to somebody else that I respect that way. But I definitely make an effort to not use it. Like he brought up Dave Chappelle. Yo, it bothers me sometimes when I'm watching Dave Chappelle and 90% of his audience is white and he constantly nigga. Like it does something to me. Like, come on, man. Like I feel like there's if the true context is black God or black king, there's a certain responsibility now that comes with how we use it and when we should use it and who we should use it in front of. So that's my issue with the N-word is the proper context of it, and not recognizing the proper context of it to the degree in which we implement it as such.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I can feel that. I can feel that. I think that the way he uses it is what I enjoy. The wit that he employs it with is what I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's taking what they identify with as a negative term, and he's throwing it right back in their face and calling them that same negative term.
True.
I mean, unapologetically, and I'm cool with that. You know, the use of the word, like I said, for me, it depends on who it's coming from. It doesn't really bother me. Depends on who's coming from. I want to speak to the Confederate flag, though. You know, big up to the Confederate flag for identifying those racist bastards for who they are. Sometimes I think flags are necessary so we know who the hell we dealing with. I don't want to get a flat tire in the middle of nowhere and knock on somebody's door and they be some Confederate racists. And because some people made us think about them flying their flag, I'm a victim of their bullshit now. You know what I'm saying? So let them keep their flag. I don't care. I got nothing to do with me. You know, and it allows me to know who I'm dealing with, so I can deal with them accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you just said the exact same thing I said when you walked away. So that just lets you know the mindset. You know what I mean? The mindset we come from, I explained from growing up in the North, we you could stumble across the wrong playground and not know you in a racist neighborhood and you getting jumped. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we grew up in arenas where that identification served us very well.
Exactly. Mark it. So I know where I'm at. I'm cool with that. I'm all right with that.
Right.
You know, yeah, that stuff like that doesn't really bother me because it's really it doesn't affect me personally. You know what I mean? So I ain't on this big, get these small victories type of time. Like, if we gonna do something, let's do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't care. Hey, fly your flag, man. Use whatever terminology you want to use, man. You know what I mean? If I feel like you disrespected me, I'm gonna bust you in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. You know, I don't care what color you are. And I'm not a violent man. You know, you probably gonna bust me back in mine. But we're gonna see who the best man standing is. But I think as I was saying, I think I was trying to say this earlier. I think we become too sensitive to the smallest things, man. And what we need to be sensitive about is our mistreatment panoramically. The way they retard our children, man, intellectually, which makes them retarded economically. You know what I'm saying? We need to worry about fixing those kind of things. We need to be worried about doing what you did with your daughter. Should be the blueprint for how we deal with our children now. Screw all that other stuff. Who cares about that other stuff? Let's get to a position where we have something to protect. Because, this thing may very well get tribal. And we're going to need alliances. We're going to need safe havens. We're going to need communities. We're going to need to have them fortified so they can be protected. We're going to need sustaining resources. We're going to need to control our own sustaining resources. So that's where I'm at with it on revolution. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for it. Let's do it.